You're live.
Well, good evening. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the November 17th, 2025 special meeting. Tonight, we're meeting to continue our journey on our 2026 budget with the discussions around capital projects in the second half of that. So, as always, I'd like to acknowledge that we're meeting tonight on Treaty 5 territory. This is the ancestral land of the Okaswea Cree Nation, as well as many other indigenous peoples out there, and as well as the Red River Métis Nation. So with that, I'll call the meeting to order. All of council's in attendance tonight. Somebody have a resolution for the agenda?
Resolution number 2025-207, moved by Councillor Hopper, seconded by myself, resolved that the agenda be adopted as presented.
Any questions or additions? Seeing none, call the question. All in favor? Opposed? None? Carried. So as I had mentioned, tonight's special meeting is around the capital plan, and just thought I would say a couple of things before we start. Is that you know, when you think about budgeting, it's what council is working through right now, it's not about us trying to figure out how we're gonna raise taxes. It's actually it's about planning ahead and trying to reduce financial risk while making sure that all the things that we do as a council are setting up future councils and not putting them in bad spots in the future. So, you know, when I think about that, or when we think about that, it's about the long-term health of the PAW. Our job is to make decisions that are gonna strengthen the community, not for just today, but for the next decade. And you can see in the capital plan that's there's a lot of there's some opportunity work in there, but also some that is our responsibility is to ensure that we continue to grow and to maintain the assets we have today. Just from the quick summary that our controller put together, you know, we've got a capital plan of over $42 million over the next 5 years. And about half of that's coming from grants of over 24 million. But you'll also see that in there our contributions to our reserves and our tax contributions are not going to be able to keep pace with the long-term needs of our infrastructure. And it may require some borrowing down the road. So when we continue the discussions, not only tonight, but with in our other discussions, you know, we really need to have a good understanding of what we need to do. We also need to have a real honest discussion around the contributions to our reserves from tax appropriation to make sure, and also make sure that the timing of projects are right. We're not doing two things, or we're not doing things a little bit too early, or we're doing them at the right time. So yeah, and as I mentioned, you know, our borrowing in there is potentially to achieve that is about $10 million. And if we're going to borrow, we need to do that very strategically on how things line up. But I would also encourage this council, and I would also encourage the next council and on our administration to look at all the tools available to us as a municipality to ensure that we reduce the tax burden on our residents and our businesses. So with that, I will pass that over to Bola unless somebody else had anything to say.
So we have capital projects presentation today, and we have about 7 department managers here. So I will start from HR.
Can I just jump in 1 second? One thing I forgot to say, and I always like to do it, I broke my own rules. I wanted to give some recognition out to Sam and his crews. Great job on the Christmas lights. Love to see that when I drove through town the other night. And I also appreciate all the work that the guys are doing on the water main breaks on the roads. I know Sam even helped out on Saturday when one of the residents was struggling. So appreciate all the commitment that you guys have there. Sorry about that, Bola.
As well as the fire department too.
Yeah, the fire department's always chasing fires.
All right, thank you, Mayor. So today we are going to present capital projects from 7 departments. So they are all here. So we are starting from HR, followed by museum, up to the last one, which will be public works. So I will hand over to the HR.
Hi. Hi, everyone. I'm presenting the capital project for 2026 for the HR department. To align with our strategic goal for the department, our 2026 project is modernizing the HR of our department. So, okay, so I'm going to start with the next slide, please. So I'm going to start with our current HR landscape. In the past year, I've identified gaps, redundancies, and inefficiencies in our current system. We currently do not have an information system, which makes most of our processes manual, and it also increases risks to so many bodies. So, which has made me come to the next slide. So we currently do have 2 systems in place. The HRS My Way, which is currently, from what I understand, has been paid for like 2-3 years. And we currently also have Citation Canada, which is a platform that helps with policies and HR advices. So talking about HRS My Way, our current system for core HR and payroll, it's a subsidiary of the ICT, which is currently being used by the administrative staff. So it's functional, but it lacks modern employee self-service. It doesn't have advanced reporting as well. So also the Citation Canada is a separate subscription, which helps for compliance and also document and policy advice. Currently, we pay annual cost of $4,075 for the HRS My Way. It's included in the current annual subscription for other administrative systems that have been paid for. And for the Citation Canada, is currently $3,304 Canadian dollars. If you go to the next slide.
Can I just go back? So can we ask questions as we go along?
Yes.
So how long have both those systems been operating within the municipality?
For the HR My Way, I believe it's been on for maybe about 4 years now. I think it started in June 2021. For the Citation Canada, I can't say how long it's been going on. It was recently renewed when I recently joined, and I requested that I see what the platform offers before the subscription can be decided whether I want to move it.
Okay.
So why are we replacing the current system? So the current systems, they lack functionality for the HR department. They do not offer recruiting and do not offer recruiting services, performances, and full HR suite are not included in these systems. Currently, for the HRS My Way, the basic thing is to enter time and also to have basic leave. It doesn't have any other feature, no reporting structure, it's not modernized, and also it's not scalable for long-term HR digital transformation. We are in 2025, and the system looks really like it's 2020, and it's something that we don't see as sustainable. See, these are one of the few reasons why we are changing the system. So what is the solution that I'm proposing to the council and the town? The solution is Collage Era, which is a shift, strategic shift to a unified and modernized all-in-one platform. So we're going to talk about what Collage HR is. Collage HR is all-in-one platform, a Canadian inbuilt platform that unifies the entire life cycle of an employee. Just so you know, it is also in collaboration with the Association of Manitoba Municipalities, and I believe maybe it might have been the multiple times that the councillors have heard about Collage HR. So it also offers core HR and employee records, recruiting and onboarding, payroll and benefit, performance management, employee self-service. It's more like it's a system that brings everything at one place. So we call it a single source of truth, which means that employee can see everything that relates to their cycle with the organization, right from the process they are applying to any position in an organization until the time they leave the employment of the town. So the next slide talks about the key benefits for the council and the staff. Cost efficiency. Will replace multiple systems. It will reduce manual HR work. It centralizes a lot of processes, which reduces error and delays. It also improves the staff experiences and reduces turnover risk. Currently, most of our processes, I would say all of our processes at the HR department are done through papers. On my desk is one of the dirtiest desks in the town, and it has a lot of paperwork there. Which is something that doesn't align with our goal. So strategic alignment is also support our 2026 digital HR transformation goal. Also improves our recruitment, retention, and performance. It meets the priority for modernization. It also strengthens our data-driven decision making. Operational benefit is as the automation of HR process, faster onboarding, employee self-service access, and better reporting for managers and leadership. When I joined the town, applications are mainly done by candidates usually sending their emails, applications to emails or dropping off at the town office. And since I came on, I've been able to, in a way, modernize it. Currently, applicants are submitting applications via the website, which is not bad, but we can also improve it by making it very, very fast. So I've been able to reduce the onboarding process to about 2 weeks from the first initial contact to the candidate. And we are looking to improve that a little bit more faster. If you go to the next slide, the enhanced compliance, because this is a Canadian-built platform. It integrates compliance and policy management, reducing reliance on a separate service like the Citation Canada that we currently pay for. It also increases the efficiency, automates onboarding, time of request, data entry, and freeing a lot of HR activities so that we can focus more on the strategic work in the department. Employee experience is one of the key features of this platform. It provides a clean and modern self-service portal for staff. We want our employees to be able to offer their to access their pay stubs, to send their leave requests right from the comfort of their homes. Sometimes when employees call in sick and they show up, they have to come in to fill in a timesheet manually, which is something we are looking to eradicate. So with this platform, employees can submit their sick leave right from the comfort of their home, and they can also manage their information without having to go through any manual process. So let's talk about the smart investment. Let's talk about the impact of these finances on and the value of the consolidation. So if you go to the next slide, what we are currently doing is strategic reallocation. So by consolidating our subscriptions for the HRS Nightway, which is currently $4,075, and Citation Canada, which is $3,204, we already cover 64% of the cost by ending those subscriptions. The only thing is that we are going to upgrade and consolidate everything. So it's not just a new expense. We just gain a modern and all-in-one platform for a minimal additional investment. So the implication is just an increase of $4,141 to our annual budget for that system. So this slide shows our cost currently, which is the old, the current annual cost is $7,379 Canadian dollars for 2 subscriptions. And now we are going to be eradicating that and proposing only one platform, which is going to be for $11,520 Canadian dollars. Since we already spent $7,000 on 2 disconnected systems, we are looking to eradicate them and propose a new unified platform at cost $4,000. So this is the implementation roadmap for this platform by Q1 on the approval of the council. Who have the data migration will kick off by trying to onboard every employee on the system. By Q2, we aim to complete the system configuration and integration. By Q3 or 2026, we intend to train our staff and go live. And by the end of the quarter of next year, we intend to discontinue all the current systems that we have. So let's talk about the risks of not implementing these. So one of the,
So will we be paying for both systems at the same time? If at the end of quarter 4 is when the other one will go away?
no, so currently now, I've requested for the subscription of the HRS to not continue. And we currently do have a subscription for the citation, so upon expiration, we're not going to renew. That's the current plan. So which means we are not going to pay any cost 2026 for any of those platforms.
There is one that will be cancelled by January 2026, if council approves it, and the other one, I don't know the exact month, probably that is why.
Yeah, Rebecca, is there a cost of implementation?
So there is no cost because we are currently a member of the Association of the Municipality of Manitoba.
Okay,
But it's gonna be at the end of my slide.
okay, sorry.
Yeah, I'll stick together. So the risk of not implementing these, continued inefficiency, a lot of, like I said, a lot of our processes are manual right now, which is something that really create a lot of human error sometimes, and sometimes it doesn't create consistency in information. We have a fragmented HR systems, subscribing for 2 platforms. Sometimes it creates data silos, which doesn't really help the process. Higher long-term cost. Currently now, if we key into this agreement with the Collage team, we are going to be in agreement for as long as the relationship continues. Inability to scale with organizational needs. We are improving daily, every day. Town of the Pride is improving. Our team, our human resources team are also increasing. So we intend to align that with organizational needs. Wildfire outbreak can lead to data loss. Recently, this year, we experienced wildfire across our neighboring communities. And it's a risk that led to people evacuating their communities. And if we continue in manual process, we may not be able to save the situation in our department because most of our system, our processes are majorly manual, which is something that is a risk to the department. In conclusion, Collage HR modernizes our HR operations. It has a minimal net budget increase and it has a strong long-term strategic value. And it's also recommended for an approval. But I'm going to leave that with the discussion of the so the key takeaway, this is a financially sound consolidation, not just a new expense. We get a free implementation. We have a partnership with the AMM and the People's First HR, which saves us thousands of upfront costs. Also, it helps to improve the efficiency of the HR and the experiences of all our employees. Just to say, we are replacing 2 data separate systems, which we want modern unified platform for only 4,141 more per year. This will be for questions.
So I'll just make one comment before Councillor Hopper. Great presentation, very clear. And you set the bar really high for everybody else in the meeting. You should probably have went last.
I know.
But no, thank you for that, Robert. And you had answered my question already about the implementation cost. It looks like a good project.
You beat me. I was gonna say it was a terrible presentation. Great presentation. The bar set high. No need to ask questions. I think we'd be remiss if we didn't.
Yeah.
Take this on for sure.
Yeah, well done. Anybody else?
My only question is, if we ever come out of the dark age and quit with manual time cards, will this easily implement a new system?
Yes, sorry.
So if we ever get to the point where it's a more digital entry, more streamlined process, will this integrate easily or will it become a new ball, a new process in a sense, new subscription?
So no, this platform offers data entry, time entry also. It also everything that has to do with HR from the process of reporting their time. There are so many functions that I didn't list here, but time entry, we submit our timesheet, but that is going to be eliminated. And that is also going to save the cost of having to print so many papers and all of that. Pay stubs of employees are usually done manually. Employees get their pay stub by paper, but currently now we have implemented a temporary way. We have collected a lot of the personal emails of employees so that we can send pay stubs digitally. But with this platform, you will have to see it on their platform. Believe that the entitlement they have, their benefit, the current days they have for sick leave, everything is inputted on input on the platform. So we don't have to pay for another feature. Everything is inclusive.
Great part of your HR training must have been salesmanship.
Yeah. Oh, I won't say what. Oh, no, thank you very much, Albert. Well done. Like I said, I think that's a very clear direction on what we need to do in 2026 with regards to HR and improving our employee experience.
Does this have to be approved prior for them to get in for January?
Yeah, and that's a good question, and I know we'll talk to our, our controller as well, but if there's needing to be early spending, with this project or with any projects to ensure that we get the full value to the community, please ask up front. And if you had to initiate this next week, I'm sure council could, I'm sure that the supplier and this council could come up with a way to have the expense show up in 2026.
It doesn't include erosion though.
The next department is museum. That's all.
Alright. Go to the next slide then. So we're just gonna be looking at carryover projects from last year and then this year. So the first one is obviously the redesign of the interior of the museum. Been a lot of difficulty in getting this grant for the project, and that's why we can carry it over to next year. The
Is
fire
that the grant? You said the grant is what's holding us back there?
Yeah.
So we applied for that? Because I was gonna ask you that. We applied and denied?
Yeah.
Okay. And when does that grant come forward again now?
we can apply for it again next year.
And then under the community contribution to that project, I can't remember how much did we budget?
So you have to, when you're applying, you have to say that you have 67%, but the grant will fund up to 50%.
Yeah,
So the ideal situation in the end would be 50%.
yeah, but then in our budget in 2025, because I believe this was already, we already committed to it in 2025, correct?
I believe so.
Yeah, so what was the dollar value that was committed in? 2025?
It was total, I believe, 447,000.
Yeah, so I guess what I'm trying to figure out is, was that is that an impact on 2025's financials? Was it really in the budget or not? That's what I'm trying to understand. And will we have an underspend in 2025 based on the allocation of $400,000? And the reason why I say that is if that's the case, then that $400,000 that we committed in 2025 should be moved into the reserve so that it can be spent in 2026 to cover the cost of the, you know what I'm saying?
And yeah, I know Laura had it broken down in different ways of grant dependent where it wasn't clear for us to know, is it actually coming from us or not until that's.
Yeah, I know.
It would be nice to know.
Yeah, it's just we need to make sure that, I guess what I'm saying is with our reserves, it's important that if we did budget stuff within to do a project this year, and if there was money in the reserves, that money should be moved into the reserve and it shouldn't displace spending for next year. Because it never got done, you know what I mean?
Or year.
Yes, it's already earmarked for it, it should be earmarked for it. So we don't,
So that should be applicable to all carryover.
it should be included in the carryovers, yeah. If there's really dollars there, then it should be carried over into the reserve. Okay, sorry, Jackson.
Yeah, no worries. The next one is the fire suppression system. This one, again, unfortunately, Laura was supposed to provide an update for me on this one, and it's kind of just obviously fallen by the wayside. So I don't have a concrete timetable for this one. The original estimate that we received was about $27,000.
27,000?
Was the original estimate for the fire.
Yeah, that's out of 190 now.
That one, then
Yeah.
I haven't been updated.
Yeah, the provincial grant was 95 and the reserves was coming for 95, so.
So there's a grant for that, you know?
Again, no,
Okay.
no one updated me, so this is the first time I'm hearing the results of this.
Okay, so we'll get some more information. We can come back to this one.
And the last one, the carryover, is the table project. So last year we did new chairs for the Rotary Room. And then this year, looking at new tables, but we have to await the Friends of Sam Waller Museum disbursement, as well as our application to Rotary for funding. And disbursement for Friends of Sam Waller can't occur until the new year.
Okay.
It's just, that project's all obviously grant funded anyway, so.
Yeah.
We can go to the next one. So the first one, we're looking for a lease for a copier for the museum. Hopefully we can look for a grant to assist with the initial cost, because we want to do some large scale printing projects. For example, we want to put little pamphlets around the museum. One of the examples would be a little bio that's for free, that little booklet kind of thing that you could take regarding the history of Sam Wall. We also would use it for the scanning of historical objects, as we've run into trouble with our current scanner. And so obviously it would fill that need. The next thing we're looking at is the gift shop investment. So this one, unfortunately, there's no grant. It would have to be all town. We're looking at about $7,500. And we're looking to produce a bunch of new material, t-shirts, hoodies, shirts, basically anything, new keychains, magnets with the paw, the museum, various things around the town. Because that's one of the biggest things that happens when people come into the gift shop. They're looking for something with the paw on it, a picture of the paw, anything like that. So we're looking to sort of mass produce and get also a reprint of the 100 years book that we have. We're only down to one last box of those. They're a pretty big seller. We'd also like to print more of our Paul Umberco tote bags, as those are also another big seller. Maybe not so much keychains, as we have still about 600 of the Paul Umberco keychains. So if you're looking for a $1 gift, stop by there.
Would that be something that would be valuable for us to hand out, have some here to hand out to our visitors and for Trappers Festival and stuff like that, when we have some of our colleagues coming and ministers and stuff?
They're cheaper than candy, so.
Yeah.
Also the offsite display project, looking to finally complete this. So we did just fill the education and programming coordinator position. It starts tomorrow. So that's going to be his specific project to get all of the remaining ones done. We're looking at 2 different grants to fund some really nice sort of posters, like on a hardback, that we can use for the project to put them up everywhere. The final one is the fencing project to fence the side of the museum, not the roadside, the other side. To really prevent loitering, and then eventually, once it gets fenced in, once the hostile architecture is installed, we would be looking at turning that place into something that could host an event, whether it's a market, outdoor theater, craft sale, or even just, you know, once a week in the summer, you have a cafe scenario kind of thing. But yeah, that's what we'd like to turn that space into eventually, something that complements the museum.
So why can't you do that now?
That would just increase the amount of loitering that because that's where they all congregate.
So this is crime prevention through environmental design.
Yeah.
So maybe some grants around that as well.
Except I only look at it as increasing the surface area for the lean against the fence instead of against the building. So ultimately, we need to look after loitering with signage and due diligence. I'm against the fence idea, especially being in the downtown core. It just doesn't look good. The biggest feature of the museum, I think, is the building itself.
Just talking the back lane, fence.
The side, right, also.
Not a regular.
Everything to the south.
The side of the clinic, right?
Yeah.
To the
The yard beside the
Yeah,
clinic,
yeah.
not the entranceway.
That's correct.
And I think if you read and then that's fencing the small entrance at the back where we have problems today. So maybe what, Jackson, you could, just share for us is maybe just get a picture from Sam and sort of maybe sketch out what your thoughts are on that, just so that, council can have a better understanding of what you're proposing and whether we can support it or not.
That should be happening.
Ash can do that, he said, drafting. Thanks, any questions for, Jackson? No? Well, thanks, again, Jackson, for everything you're doing.
Just one comment, you mentioned several times you can get updates on, projects, the costing and stuff, so you could go and just check on that, I'm sure that there's something we haven't done an update on. There could go at, find out why or what the update is, so you don't come here and go to us, what it may or may not be. Thank you.
The next department is community safety department.
Good evening. Okay, my 2026 capital project, it's just one thing, another CSO patrol vehicle. As we sit right now, asking 50,000 for a 2006 for the 2006 capital project. I do have a grant for $30,000 from the RCMP for a vehicle that I only have a year to use. On that, we have to look it back to RCMP. And basically with the $30,000 from the 50,000, I have $20,000 I'm asking for, basically, to get it up, outfitted with lights, cage, deck link, stuff like that.
Any questions?
What are the annual operating costs?
Right at the present moment, I don't have the expect for it. So I can get the, cost of fuel and stuff like
A
that.
new truck, probably, insurance.
Be similar to the one.
Yeah.
we had.
Yes,
This was a one-time grant.
this is one-time purchase.
So I guess my question is, we had quite a discussion about 6-7 months ago when acting staff sergeant Stark was here
Yes,
about being alone, working alone. So you
Yeah.
currently have a staff of 2 that do patrols and you are administrative assistant.
yes,
So now we have 2 vehicles, but those guys can't be separated. So one vehicle is basically parking and waiting for something to happen. It's not gonna be used for patrols other than if you are also out. And so it just, like, I completely understand that. I know I spoke and found that the $30,000 has to be spent on a vehicle and I'd hate to lose that money. And I know you think I'm joking about it, but I would almost prefer bicycles over a truck to see you being visual and being visible in the community over another vehicle that's gonna sit and park. That's all.
understand.
But I understand that $30,000 needs to be spent, so.
I would also, I support this, project, and I also will bring forward, as a recommendation that council looks at hiring additional CSOs in 2026. Because I believe we heard that message loud and clear from our community members that, they want to see more people, they want to see more, exposure, and as Councilor Manage has mentioned, then it's really up to us to make sure that the visibility is there and the effectiveness is there as a manager to make sure things are going, so.
I know, in the past you've done, this is kind of on the side, but I guess you get tied in with the vehicle. When you were at the hospital before, looking after patients for the RCMP and for the RHA,
Yes,
vehicle stayed there, two members both stayed there?
yes, not just one member. Yeah.
I noticed this last week it was parked there again. Are we still doing that?
We very rarely do MHAs. Last week we did one.
Should be zero. That's the responsibility of the RCMP and the RHA, just my opinion.
And we are working on that too.
The,
Say no.
okay, the last one, they informed me, we did charge the marriage. We sent the bill to them, but they did not acknowledge it.
Check, you get a check, yeah?
So I've not received anything from them.
Charging lots. You're going to discourage them from using you for that when we have you for other issues.
I think if you look within, it was in the news, the last few weeks as well, there's a resolution at the Association of Manitoba Municipalities, conference coming up the next week is specifically around that. I know the city of Dauphin, city of Thompson, and some other places actually put forward formal concerns and requests that if we're gonna do that, there should be community mobilization programs that are in place to take care of that. So I agree with Councillor Hopper, unless there's a significant emergency within the community that the RCMP is really needing some help, I would shy away from providing that assistance. No, I understand you make the judgment call at the time and we'll support you. Okay, anything else with the truck? No? Okay, sounds good. And again, I think it's once we get closer to the other nuts and bolts of the budget, Mike, when, we can try to hopefully, if it does go through, your spending is early in the year, so that's good.
Okay. Thank you very much, guys.
And thank you.
Fire department. The department.
Just push the button. Okay, so 2025, we had 3 capital projects. As of right now, 2 out of 3 are completed. The CCAN's still waiting. The price of them skyrocketed for some reason. It went from about 105,000 to roughly 8,000 for the CCAN, not including shipping. So I was really surprised with that, but our gear dryer and our hose tester were purchased and operational immediately, so thank you for that. They've been a huge help. This year, we were only going with the one capital project just because we're trying to build the reserve back up. We've got some bigger projects coming in the near future that are gonna need quite a bit of funding, so I didn't want to do a whole bunch of projects this year. And thankfully, Command 1 replacement came up. We aimed for a 10-year lifespan on command units. So not from the year it was manufactured, but from the year that we purchased the unit. So the Suburban is a 2016 unit, 2026 is coming up. That gives it its 10-year lifespan. Command 2 is a 2021, I believe, but we purchased it in 23. So we're looking at 2033 as a replacement for that one, just for your guys' knowledge. We're looking at either brand new or gently used, depending on price, of course. The price of trucks hasn't gotten any cheaper in the last 3 years. They just keep going up and up and up. The current unit, we've spent just over $9,000 this year on repairs. And it needs roughly another $25,000 worth of repairs. So in total, that'll put us in the last 5 years upwards of $80,000 that we've put just the repairs into a 10-year-old vehicle now. So the current unit, basically the whole front end needs to be rebuilt, struts,
shocks, control arms, lower control arms, the rear suspension needs to be redone. And during a weekly check of the vehicle, we noticed that the engine oil was pretty low. So we topped it up, we checked it again the next week, it was low again. Took it in for its multi-point inspection and they found quite a few metal shavings in the oil. And their recommendation is either a rebuild on the engine or a new engine.
How are they just based on metal? That's their judgment on that?
Yeah, usually if you have metal in your oil.
Oh, I understand
coming
that.
from Crankshaft, pistons, something's running to cause those shavings. Counselor Manage will have more information on how many times we've done that engine.
And well, nothing was done with the engine per se in those first few years, but I can definitely confirm that that vehicle has been late Friday or early morning build, and it's been a problem from day one.
And looking, I actually went on Vadum today and got all the costs from when we purchased that unit till now. And it's consistently increased year after year, so 2021 was roughly $5,600 put into it. 2022 was 7,600, 2023 13,000, and last year was 14,000. This year we're looking at 34,000. So it's constantly been.
Just a question, can you compare that with Command 2?
What's that?
Could you compare that with Command 2? Like how many dollars have you had to put into Command 2?
No,
No.
no.
That was privately owned and was traded in a long time.
Yeah, yeah, I personally wouldn't have put $55,000 into my own vehicle. I had a vehicle need $10,000 worth of repairs and I said, no, I can't afford that, so.
You know that this meeting is open, so it's gonna be hard to sell it now. Let's get,
It's not worth anything. It's not worth anything. They used to give the old one to the airport to use as a vehicle. Remember that, right? The old bucket used to drive, so.
It's been in the shop about every other month this year for repairs, so it has had a lot of downtime. There are some options that we could do. We could look at trading it in and getting whatever we can for it to help reduce the cost of the new unit. Put it in the town auction, recoup some costs that way. I don't know which one would be better. Whether trade in, just get rid of it, out of our hands, auction it, or put some money into it for a town vehicle as a travel vehicle. That way the travel vehicle has four-wheel drive.
it's not one I wouldn't wanna go very far. I'm gonna get rid of the council member or something.
Tried that once already, tried it 2 weeks. A bunch of them going.
So,
We already did that once. Council learned though.
so the cost, so we can take some stuff out of this unit, put it into the new one, the center console, radios. All of that can be moved over. Some of the lighting can, but some of the lighting is original to the unit and starting to fail. I got a ballpark quote on lighting today. And it's roughly about $17,000, decorating, lighting, install, everything like that. So we are asking if we can get pre-approval on this to get the ball rolling. Cause as of right now, it's sitting in Chevy's parking lot, not moving.
And the only thing I wanted to say about your presentation or your ask, you're not asking for enough. $85,000 doesn't get you a new truck, as we saw even by the airport presentation last week, and I priced out what they asked for. $100,000 is kind of your truck that you need with the amenities, right? You don't want a bare bones, but you don't want something fancy.
Yeah.
You need minimum set $100,000 for the vehicle plus your accessories.
I was looking and with Ford for not a base model, but a step up was roughly 60 for a brand new.
For a single cab? Must be a single cab.
Crew cab, 5 liter. There's a couple of used ones, either in Flin Flon here or Thompson. They're less than 2 years old, less than 50,000 kilometers. and it's about 50 grand.
So I guess what council is saying, or giving some indication that there's some alignment there, so what I'd suggest you do is put in an issue sheet
And.
requesting, eh?
I think there is an
There
issue
is
sheet.
an
Yeah.
issue sheet.
No, I'll just let finish what I was gonna say, so put in an issue sheet requesting that you get approval early and to have that purchase start right away, council has to pass a resolution anyways, so put it in. And we can have that discussion in the council meeting, if we're gonna move forward with it, then it's automatically in the budget, so.
So what we're saying,
Take Councillor Management's advice and get, I myself, I would say get new.
Well, we need a price, so when it comes as an issue sheet in council for request, we actually need quotes then, because it's
it'll
no
have to be
longer.
a tender, based on dollar value, it'll be a tender process, right?
Yeah.
It'll go to tender, and I believe Ola did put an issue sheet in to request a pre-approval, just to, start the
I didn't,
procurement
I didn't
process.
see that in the council meeting yet, so it couldn't be, and it's not in this meeting, we wouldn't have it in this meeting.
Is that price that you have, is that
We don't have a meeting for it, so
and what kind of weight do you hold with that truck most of the time?
The only thing, the heaviest thing we would haul would be the wildland trailer.
I don't know if we can actually do that kind of business in this meeting, like, we can't do a pre-approval, so December 8th is our next meeting.
Okay.
So that's 3 weeks away. So if we can get the quotes, get to know exactly what you want, so that,
Yeah, I think today that's just asking for the pre-approval to start the process of
Yeah.
quotes and everything, so.
Okay.
If I have approval for that, I can talk with purchasing about getting a tender done up on that.
And yeah, well, I would add is if you're ever gonna consider used, it better be because it's specific to something that's gonna suit you. Otherwise, I agree, it should be
Yeah.
a new unit.
Yeah.
Like I said, unless you come across a heavy duty or something that's fitting exactly your needs and the price makes sense, so.
Very, very, yeah. I agree.
yeah, I think that, but we can't do that business in this meeting.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
The only other thing, I don't know if you heard in the beginning, Byron, the only thing, I don't know if you heard in the beginning too, and I don't want you to leave because you have big spends, and same as you, Mike, is that we really need to strategically think about what's really necessary for this community. And when you look at the reserves that are the contributions that are in the reserves, whether it's infrastructure or not, there's not enough to sustain that type of spend. So, if we are proposing in a capital budget, we really need to come with a strong case that says we really need that. So just, I know it's not for this year, not for 26, but for when you guys start thinking of the next group, because like the spending or the borrowing strategy will have to be incorporated in there.
Yeah.
So, the next department is immigration.
Yeah. I have like 7 projects here, 3 of which are related to the grow application, but not restricted to it. The Civic Center established the front entrance, complete overhaul of that, including the accessibility ramp. This is just a render of what it could potentially look like. Removing the cobblestone, talking with Sam and some other contractors, we feel that the cobblestone might not be
Appropriate.
yeah, appropriate for the use of what's happening. As you see, there's lots of little ridges and they're popping up, and it's not ideal for the amount of salt we probably lay down on the area over time. Just causes for a lot of maintenance repair. So a complete overhaul of the asphalt or concrete, and then planters, and then removing the retaining wall. And adding planters, spruce it up with some flowers.
Accessibility ramp, though, I don't think that would.
Not rendering more.
Yeah.
Oh, just
Yeah.
In case you want to do stairs.
Yeah, your ramp is gonna end up having to go the other direction,
Yeah.
because it's gonna be twice as long as
Yeah,
that.
probably along the flower that.
But just for fun, we wanna see you get up a ramp in a wheelchair like that.
Yeah, I know, it's pretty steep.
That'll be your new fitness equipment you're asking.
Like, we're gonna need something to help person to float.
You know, I think it's important that we do refresh this building. It's very old and, I think it's time to modernize things.
That,
The two windows on the top there too, that's just a cell now, yeah. But just out of curiosity, are we moving the flags or is it part of there?
So, yeah, flag would be a carryover project to next year. Where there's-
Are you moving the location?
It's just a.
oh, it's just.
We may have to finish on the ramp.
I'm just asking, because we threw the cool ramp in there, I think it's still part of it, so.
I think the flag should be, depending on where the ramp kind of is, we'll have to determine what the best fits, yeah. I was thinking with their last presentation about the signage out front that Paul had proposed. Bookmarking that with flags would look great as an idea for moving the flags out of the front and bookmarking your sign.
Yeah.
Mm.
That way it's visible, both sides or all directions, and gives a standalone area.
I mental note now.
That's a good-
Oh,
You already forgot. You'll leave me on the next one.
and a new cap.
Moving on to the arena, an upgrade of all the flooring throughout, dressing rooms, hallway, and even the lobby, where it's the original still, and into the public bathrooms that are at the east side of the building there. They're in badly need of a modernization, update the fixtures, the countertop, the stalls, the walls, even the toilets, just to get more, up-to-date fixtures and just make it look.
It's 20-some years old.
Yeah, make it look modern.
So what can we do different this time with the flooring? Because this will be the third time since we.
Yeah,
replaced
so
the
what-
flooring.
So when I was working at the GMC for the Blizzard, when we redid the flooring there, we
Yeah.
went with the same floor but all in tiles, and they're both, I think there's 2x2 tiles.
Okay.
And then theirs hasn't come up once, but if it does, you have the option to pull it and then change that tile. That's what I'd like to go with here. It doesn't make sense to have one full long roll and then have that come up and have to replace almost all of it.
So skates can go on that?
Skates can go
Or
on,
you have
yeah,
to put
yeah.
guards on?
So everywhere, even in the bathroom, it should be throughout, I think, because for public skating, they wanna go to the bathroom, they want to take their skates off and.
Yeah.
Or go all the way to a hallway
Yeah.
and down into a dressing room, which might be occupied or something, so. For me, that should be right throughout, so that it's accessible for everyone who's using skates, they don't have to take them off, right? It just makes more sense, even for using the scrubber, it makes sense to take the floor with that scrubber right throughout into the bathroom. It'll work better.
Thank you.
And with the tile option that Joe Mark mentioned, there was talk potentially an opportunity to sell advertiser space on the floor as well.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd do that.
Michael's logos, sell it for a while. Some because it might be tacky, but.
Yeah. One question, I don't know if Joe or if it's came up there, is that, the viewing area, in the lobby, is there any chance of tying that into the renovations to sort of upgrade that? So it's more accessible for seniors, but also, maybe extending the windows lower or moving them closer and then just having a small little hump where wheelchairs and others
I
can kind of
think
push
for
up.
sure there's opportunity to clean that up and make it more usable.
Yeah.
And I've been throwing around some ideas and. Like I said, yeah, I think that's a good idea
Yeah.
to include that into it. I haven't really
Because it would be
ironed that out yet, but.
pretty easy.
I know that Rob might want it a certain way, and I'm not sure if we can do it the way he's thinking, but there's certainly room for improvement on that area.
Yes.
Speaking of that, do we have a new agreement with them yet, or are we still out going into season 3 without an agreement?
Yeah, that's.
So that's something we probably wanna have in place before we give
For sure.
Blizzard any input into what they're gonna ask for, but
Yeah.
like right now, they don't even have an agreement, right?
Who are they waiting for?
I have to meet with the owner, probably next week. Finalize a few details, and then we're hoping to have that on your agenda for the. For some.
And moving on to the cemetery.
If I could just.
Oh, sorry.
Couple of, for age.
Yeah.
the ice area, seating area, railings on the stairs, remove the trip hazards at the end of each aisle, painting the edge of the stairs.
Okay.
I've been there for a couple of weeks, I don't know if any of that's been done yet.
No.
We asked for it quite a while.
The railing, Jeremy Patrick is just getting back from holiday, so he's already started the fabrication for that. And he'll be doing the install as well, so he's started that process already.
Speaking of the railings, I know they've been talked about for about a year. But has there been an assessment to ensure the railings can actually be installed based on the width of that entrance?
Yeah. We
Because
went
that
back and
becomes
forth.
part of the building code where now it's an impediment, even though they're necessary for
Right.
people. But if it was never designed with it, a railing might impede the legality of it, right?
Right, so originally we were under the impression that, it was going to impede that and it wouldn't be to code if the railings were in. We found out later that that was incorrect and they said that we could do it.
It can put them in there.
Yeah.
But in, you know, there's lots of, and I don't know if I shared those pictures with you, but I was in an arena a couple of months ago where you don't actually have to put a railing from top to bottom.
Right.
You put maybe a short 2-foot one, a couple of spots as you go down, so you can still walk in between each of the ones. And then that way it doesn't impact your seating and doesn't impact anything, so. And that's in many areas.
I've been looking at different
I'll
variations.
send you the picture, I actually took a picture with.
Moving on to the cemetery, so we'll be adding 2 more columbariums, 2 like the ones you see, front and center there. They'll add 98 more niches, so, that'll give us quite a bit more room, and then, in the following year, we'll add another 2 so that we can, meet the demands of public. A simple project, they'll come in, they'll help install as well, and that's included in the price. I've actually overpriced the budget for this, so we're looking to have that in come springtime, we'll start that process. Questions on them?
How many spots do we have left in our current one?
Not man,
10-ish?
maybe less. I
Yeah.
want to say it's like in that pack.
Those, the lower ones.
Yeah.
Like we go on.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So on the new ones, are they gonna eliminate the bottom ones and people go a little higher?
I don't know if we have the option to do that. That would get a little
They
pricier.
recommend the pricing.
Yeah.
So if you want front and center, eye level, it's the most expensive. And then
There is a gradual increase as it goes higher, so you're at level. So-
We
Get
talked
priced
to the,
appropriately.
were you with me when we talked to them at the trade show?
Nelson Granite?
They, a couple of columbariums, they're
Yeah.
not as expensive as you would think.
No, I was quite surprised
Yeah.
when I first priced it out and I was talking to Sam, I was thinking quite a bit over 150,000.
Yeah, no, they're not.
It was, I came in at, they came in at half.
that's the brochure that we got.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Brought back.
It's on me.
Well, my idea was bottom level, and that was eliminated, but still there, like.
Right.
That's basically the stand, so you don't have anybody right on the ground level.
I can explore that. I'm thinking that will be significantly more expensive, maybe because now you're customizing it to be closed off, but we can always,
Basically base.
yeah.
Yeah, we spoke to them about bases as well, and they're quite expensive to get the base, but
One time cost, I'm saying if people don't want those necessarily, not a big seller, then.
Don't have much of a say where you're going when you're done.
And it's
Depends on the value.
I count 96, but this one's 90, our other information is 96, which.
Yeah,
I
I
think
might
it's
have
96,
messed
but you
up.
get
I might have.
typically 24 per side, right? So then 2 of them would give us 96.
Well, we can't really use this as addressing our housing issue.
Yeah.
These are tiny homes.
There is a movement for time. Moving on to the Wellness Center, just their standard.
Just a question.
Yeah.
From the cemetery there. Have a picture of the entrance. Is there any work being gonna be done at the entrance other than what's there now?
I haven't looked at anything like this in terms of like the overhang with the Lakeside Cemetery sign. Is that what you're thinking, or just in general?
Use side.
I don't have anything in my plans for that. I haven't looked at that. That's not something that's been on my radar.
We bought some large planters to complement the entrance.
Cause we added $40,000 for the cemetery last year.
Yeah.
Where are we on that? Have we used it all or? Any idea?
No, we haven't used it all. I couldn't tell you exactly where we're at with that, I'd have to look at the.
I do understand that they were ordering a bunch of material, gravel or something.
It was more for equipment and material than it
The
was.
beautification.
And same thing for, grass.
Basically, beautification,
Yeah.
I'm saying, if it's, hasn't been used, we'll have to make sure that's carried over, not lost. and
Yeah.
there for next
Right.
year.
And if we need more, asked during during now.
And it does look a lot better out there now.
I thought the two bottom and that were there this summer did a really good job and
Yeah.
I don't think they ever got enough credit for it. But they did a good job. Center, Wellness Center, I haven't determined what we wanna put in the facility, mostly because of the space limitations that we have now, we're almost maxed out, so. It's either removing equipment and replacing it, or getting lots of more smaller pieces that can be stored in storage.
And some of the stuff is more only.
Yeah, so it'll probably be more of that than it'll be big ticket items that I've got in the past. The ball diamonds, so we have a $65,000 grant, that we can use toward these fields. We're looking at redoing the infield again, potentially putting in grass infield as well. And then we have money also for the bleachers, and then in the process, we should have enough money for our dugouts. We've started an Arena 1. We want to start both of these next year and have to finish partway through the season at least.
Are the dugouts not carryovers?
The dugout for Arena 1 is
Oh, okay.
in the process. It's not a carryover really, it's gonna, like,
It'll
it's supposed to be done
Oh.
for the winter, but I'm not sure if the contractor will have time to get to it, but. He's hoping to still, the weather's been cooperating, so I'm hoping that he gets it done before the winter. If not, it won't be too big of a deal, then. Doesn't have to sit in the snow.
As long as we get the forms off.
Okay,
As long as we get the forms off
Yeah,
at some point,
yeah,
they've been on for 7
exactly.
weeks, so.
yeah, might have to be me that does that. Not much for me.
Joe, are there any thoughts of, additional lighting in other,
Yeah, that like, so
for down in the
that's,
future?
I've actually put in another grant with the Blue Jays, so that's involved in this project. If we get that grant, and then if you can see in this is Centennial. Yeah, you can see the amphitheater, and I just kind of, I didn't place it this any old place, but I thought that would potentially be the best spot for it. But I'm excited about that if we can make that happen, with that kind of area being the central hub
Yeah,
for,
absolutely.
yeah, and it is,
Great idea.
I think it'll be a great spot for everyone. The spray park's there and we're improving the playground. If we get the grow application, if that goes through, there's lots that is gonna be done there, and then, we want everything in that space.
We brought bringing money forward for, tennis and pickleball, for the link there as well. So,
Oh, right.
yeah, so that's been done.
So do we put turf line in Centennial too?
Turf line is at all of them. Yeah, it's Centennial, Kinsman and Arena 1. So yeah, they're all done, and then soccer fields as well, soccer.
I like the amphitheater, but in the past 2 weeks, we've heard of 3 of them going in town. So I'm guessing managers don't talk to each other. We've talked with the Rotary Club putting up a stage in amphitheater or pavilion, another one in Devon Park, and now over there. I'm just curious if we need 3, is that the idea, or is this something that's?
No, sorry, who did you say?
Well, Jonathan had some renderings.
Okay.
Talking, so
We're just talking to.
it'd be great to hear, kind of a management meeting of, hey, what are our strategic plans?
Yeah,
How many
no,
amphitheaters?
well, we had talked about the amphitheater, that's part of the GRO.
It's the same discussion for.
Yeah, so whether it goes there or Devon Park, I guess. It would just
Yeah,
be-
no, it would make sense go here, but I know.
For me,
there's a-
for me, I think that too. Yeah, and even like the way this looks in that picture, I can see it happening there, so. Okay. Moving on. Also part of the GRO, the rubberization of the track, which would include landscaping of the soccer field and the surrounding area to make this space more family friendly, better for viewing, picnic tables, benches, re-landscaping the hills so there's, you can sit on them. Just an overall better experience with people viewing the sporting events that are happening in that space.
When did that grant's been submitted right now, right?
Yes,
So what are the? April is when they're supposed to let us know.
still a while.
We should, what's that?
It'd be nice to
Yeah,
earlier.
we should actually, just thinking out loud, we should probably get a list, it's like a summarized list of this for meetings next week.
Okay.
And that way, when we get an opportunity to speak to the minister, we can corner the minister responsible for growth. We can sort of drop a piece of paper on his desk as well and or hers. And see if we can sort of make sure that we're noticed, that's all.
And the last one is just with the library.
Just so before you go away from there, Joe, I did read in one of those documents that you were looking for bleachers, and then, why can't we use those steel bleachers that are sitting behind the
aluminum ones?
Yeah,
The ones that we set up at the ball diamonds.
are they there now?
Well, like, we use them all over, so,
Okay,
yeah.
I wasn't sure about that, that's all.
Like, we even use them for when we have events in the wellness center, we roll. them.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
okay,
so they are portable, but that's basically what we'll be getting again.
okay.
Yeah, so then we can still utilize them, not just in the spot they are, but.
Yeah, no, I wasn't sure if they were used or not, and I remember them being in the rink, and I just.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we just had the set in the wellness for zones.
Okay, perfect.
Their home tournament 2 weeks prior to, so.
Okay.
We do use them in the facility. And then the library, we need to add air conditioning and dehumidifier for the obvious, moisture problem that was happening down there in the last couple of years. That's dried up now, but we want to make sure that it stays that way. To mitigate that area, we are going to close it off and then make sure that it stays dry with a commercial dehumidifier. And then, to make the workers more comfortable in the area, they don't have AC, but it does have potential to have it, so, we're looking at adding that there too.
As part of plans, I would like to see a bigger investment into the library. I went on a tour there about a month ago. And almost all the carpet tile in the back annex could be replaced. You know, the piece looks like it's been given up on.
Yeah.
It'd be nice to see a little bit of money put into it to, again, it is one of our main
Yeah.
public spaces that. It'd be nice to see a little more, but even the lighting, the annex as well as the main building.
It's 2 years old.
Yeah, well, it's carpet tile, so maybe they can just be replaced, but there's many of them that.
I know there is carpet or tiles somewhere.
Yeah. But yeah, it just, like I said, it doesn't show very well and it is a great space to look after. And like I said, you know, go upstairs, the stipples all falling on your head, like you don't even want to go up
Yeah.
there. And
So I do have with the the popcorn ceiling, that one of the jobs that our maintenance contractor that is going to take care of is that remove it also. There will be a big revamp in there.
And talking about lighting, this would be a great area. I think everyone's parked in the back. Notice how dark it is back here.
Yeah.
It'd be a good area to increase lighting as part of that safety initiatives.
Joe, so, just a comment, I don't know if that's a pretty big building, I'm not sure $40,000 will cover the cost of a heating ventilation system or cooling system in that building.
Yeah, I think it definitely could be underpriced. I just didn't know how much.
I'm
I guess, yeah,
pretty sure.
between myself and Laura, we kind of just put that together.
And then the other thing is that, you know, I think this goes again, strategically thinking, without making any decisions. Depending on the investment required to maintain and manage that asset, you know, I think the councils will have to start looking at long-term, what's the best way and where's the best place for a library? And there has been discussions in the past with partnering with UCN and maybe having a public library at UCN. And I'm not saying that's the way to go, but I think that has to be in your discussion.
Yeah.
When you say, in the next 5 years, we're gonna need to spend $1 million to like we're $500,000 or whatever it is. is that the best place where we should be spending money? Or do we transition into a community or a library that's in partnership with UCN and utilize that space there that's underutilized as well?
Yeah, I don't mind that idea at all, that's for sure.
And again, it's not, I'm not saying that's the direction, but I think when the councils are having those discussions, that's why when we look at a 5-year capital plan, we really need to understand and have a really good feeling about it. And to say, well, where's your investment and where it should go? And it might be a better reason and maybe not. And there might be other sentimental reasons why you're not
Right.
wanting to do that too, because you still have the asset and what are you gonna do with it? And you gotta either tear it down now or you try to give it to somebody else, or do they build a hotel out of it or whatever?
I would hate, where the library goes and the building to me are two separate discussions. I look at that building and I think of Skippy L, and right now
Yeah.
maybe it's deteriorating or we're slowly heading towards that, and I would really like to see some work getting done on this building.
Mhm.
There is accessibility assessment that was done by the library. It hasn't been formally adopted by the board yet, it's by the great board, but they go over a lot of the issues in here and some of what you talked about here, Jomar. And yeah, like I said, we're heading towards this turning into another CPL, and we have so few heritage buildings in our community as it is. We obviously lost one a couple of years ago, so I would hate to see this continue.
Yeah, and I guess I just want to bring clarity for the people that might be watching. You know, when we talk about the building, it's repurposing and somebody else managing it outside of the town. So I agree, the last thing you want to have is that heritage building or that history torn down. That's never the intent. But is there another option for it where it turns into something else that's not a town asset?
That's my last one.
Cool.
What's that, Margaret?
No, just talk about assets.
What was that? What'd you say?
Well, you're looking at, you don't want to have the library as an asset, but we've got a big asset coming up.
What's that?
I don't,
No, exactly. Well, I think that's being handled right now, right?
But yeah, there's lots of maintenance there that could help along, just a simple.
Yeah, I know, yeah,
Drive will
take care of it, right?
just take care of it, presentations, everything.
Yeah.
Okay, we're bringing forward, I'll try to be quick, we're bringing forward, there are some projects this year, approximately 2.8 million. Obviously, some more refining on prices, but that's our basic estimate at this point. The first one is capital paving. So this was the discussion we had about doing some targeted patching on some of the streets that were identified. As we continue our efforts to move forward, improving road conditions, we identify these areas requiring our service.
I drove down that area yesterday or the day before. It's actually pretty good. Actually worked pretty good.
On Traeger.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were really happy with the outcome. We wanna, I don't wanna oversell it until springtime and we'll actually go through a cycle. But the early sort of.
Yeah, no, I was surprised.
We're pretty happy, so we'd like to continue with that. If it holds up through the spring, we'd like to continue with that. A few more spots on Traeger, definitely need to be cut out, some curb repair. There's some significant ones on Bagshaw Reader as well. So we did do one on Bagshaw just to see how it holds up for the spring as well. So we're looking roughly about 275,000 more on Bagshaw, 125,000 Reader, 125 Traeger Lamb. And then every year we do about 200,000 to 300,000 in general patching that comes up through water breaks and sewer repairs. And then just what gets it up to the 1,085,000 is mob and demob and traffic control, which we estimate will be another 360,000 roughly.
So that's what the mob and demo, so $1 million project, 35% is.
Mob and demob and traffic control, based on what it depends, so if they're not bringing as big a crew up, let's say for patching, that number will shrink a bit, but not.
No. equipment's still gotta be here, parts still gotta get for free.
So for council's information, the opening balance of the gas tax reserve, we're looking at $376,000. We're expecting an allocation of $329,000 in 2026, which brings us just a little over $700,000 available in that account. So as you can see, we're already sort of a bit of a shortfall. So that sort of suggests that there's going to be some funding issues moving forward. If we are just going to rely on gas tax to fund the paving program. So if we want to continue with the paving program, we need to find more creative ways to pay for this work. So that's either through special levy, local improvement levy, borrowing, or just general taxation. So you already sort of touched on one of the points I want to talk about is the MOB and DMOB costs being so significant. So we have to be very strategic with how we spend those dollars. One of the proposals we made in our 5-year capital is maybe doing capital paving 1 year, patching the next year, allowing some time for the gas tax reserve to have some sort of, reload. It's still not going to be enough to do that, but that's one idea. But as you can see, when you're paying 30-some% of your MOB and DMOB, that really starts to hurt your 5-year or your paving on your off season. So another option would be to find another contractor to come up in those off seasons. So Whitford Paving out of Flin Flon, for instance, maybe they could come and do some patching for us. Unfortunately, they don't have any equipment to do shave and paints or the larger stuff, but if we wanted to do like a break in 1 year, maybe having them do patching would be more financially feasible for us. Or perhaps we get lucky and we can piggyback off work that OCM is doing or Manitoba Highways or another department. Now I know it's a bit of a long shot, but just for just food for thought, the other option would be to look at maybe purchasing our own paving units, so that in our off season we can look at putting that money towards a unit. So we just priced one out 2 to 3 years old. You're looking at 300 to 375,000. The width of the paving maximum 15 feet to a depth of 6 inches. We would still need to buy the asphalt, so it's not that it would come without cost. We'd have to hire more staff. There would be a learning curve for sure, but this would maybe allow us to have some flexibility, or perhaps we can incentivize a local business to start a paving company, perhaps. But just some food for thought, because the amount of money we're spending on MOB and DMOB is basically the cost of one of these units. And it creates more jobs under.
Just, you're talking about paving and whatnot, backlinks. I know we've got the Harley rate, and I went down the back lane and by the post office there, just while he was doing it, came back, it was great. 2 days later, it was like it was before. Are we not adding any sea base or something like that, appropriate material, work it in so these models don't, because just using what's there. Like, do we have an inventory of sea base or that material we're going to use for them?
Yeah, we're gonna start adding more traffic gravel. So the first year, we're just sort of seeing how it hold up. We got really lucky. We had a very dry beginning of the summer, so when we did it, I mean, everyone was over this is the best thing. It was great, but as we got later in the season and it gets more wet, it gets a little bit more challenging because you get a couple of big rainfalls like we had, and it sort of does do a lot of damage. So we're gonna have to kind of readjust how we approach that, adding more gravel on the front end, maybe using scarification with the excavator.
Like, do we have stockpile sea base or?
We do, yeah. Sea base might be too big for topping it up. Like your pit run's gonna have the bigger rocks, so maybe they don't know if maybe the 2 inch or the 3/4 down would be kind of. If it gets really muddy, then you would dig it out and put your like a sea base or a pit run and then sort of top.
Doesn't hurt to have the back lane moving there.
Some of the residents would disagree.
You should talk to the people that live on Harvey Place in Cudmore.
Well, okay, look down behind the post office.
Yeah, no, I know what you're saying though.
Some areas, I'm just saying that the Harley rate works, but it doesn't last for more than 2 or 3 days, depending on the weather.
Correct, the weather plays a huge role. I think a different approach next year will kind of improve that. So yeah, no, that's a good point. The next capital item we're moving forward is the purchase of a new loader. So currently this is unit 95 is a 2000 Volvo L70D loader. Currently the loader has 26,071 hours. Projected replacement cost is 475,000. Current reserve balance for equipment is 434,000. We're anticipating the contribution in 2026 of about 325,000. Our research that we've done suggests the loader's lifespan is between 7,000 and 12,000 operating hours, or approximately 10 years. The type of work the loader performs obviously significantly affects the lifespan. So for example, moving gravels, pushing snow, cutting ice, use at the landfill, but that type of work will be considered hard work and would reduce the high end of the operational range. According to our asset management plan, a loader of this nature would have a useful life of approximately 15 years. So this unit is 25 to 26 years old. So it was shown to have a 0% useful life remaining.
Depends on too what you did to relife it too, right? So you can put new drivetrain, new motors.
How much money it
Engines
gets invested, that's correct. So we spoke, before we made this decision, we spoke with our mechanics and with our public works officers specifically. There was a unanimous agreement that the loader was sort of the most important piece of equipment to replace. Some of their comments, to summarize some of their comments, the current unit is underpowered, a lot of electrical issues, increased downtime, the efficiency and effectiveness of it is decreasing, sourcing parts is becoming more challenging, therefore creating longer wait times and therefore creating longer downtimes. Our repair and maintenance costs are trending higher, and comments about the roadworthiness of it becoming questioned.
What's the value of it dollar wise if you had to get rid of it today?
I do not know what, I don't have a estimate of.
And your plan would be to get it out of here and.
Well, our goal was to retire it to the landfill. That was our original plan. We changed the tires on it to make the rubberized tires so it could last 3-4 years of life at the landfill. The previous unit that we had was retired to the landfill when I arrived, and it sort of had died at the landfill already. I think that one maybe had come from the airport, is my understanding. But there wasn't a loader out there for some years, and the goal was to take it out there, and its roadworthiness when it's at the landfill is sort of that's important. So talking with our mechanics and our staff, we believe the average downtime over the last 4 years is averaging about a month of downtime per year on average. The last 4 years, we are averaging about 25,000 a year in repair, and that includes those rentals that we had to do in the winter. So that's 2022 to 2025 inclusive. We're spending about 25,000 a year units, whether through rental or parts and equipment to maintain. And just for comparison, 4 years prior to that, 2018 to 2021, we're sitting around 7,500 a year, give or take. And we didn't include things in there, tire replacements and variable components. That's not the fair comparison. So we've seen a threefold increase in what we're spending on the unit.
What's the delivery on a new loader?
It just depends on if one's in stock or not, and and then we'll have a nice little ad here. We'll show you in a second. So along with the new loader, something that we talked about, something that they really would like to see is adding a wing or a gate for snow clearing. So currently our grader is the only piece of equipment that has a wing on it. Unfortunately, the grader is too big to traverse down like bays and certain streets. So those streets rely solely on the loader for snow clearing. So with the purchase of a loader with the wing, we believe we could significantly improve the snow clearing service and level of service to those that are in the bays and in the narrow streets. So
it's a good idea. No, the reason why I was asking is that is that equipment a year away anyways? So it's like the delivery of something like that what's the demand like? So if you're looking for it in 2026, you're really gonna spend it in 26? Are you gonna really get it? So is it approval in 26 to spend in 27? Because I know some of that equipment can be, a year.
In discussion with a few of the salespeople, they are promising that could be done sooner. We could still get it this season, but it would be one of the items that we would, if we had pre-approval, we would start the process immediately to get the pricing, because we want to make sure we have time to one of the comments previously was like, we should really look at them, get our operators, maybe go and spend some time with the different versions, because the pricing is so different to like a cat to a deer to.
That was gonna be my question. Are you hard set on a brand? Because I know sometimes mechanics say, I don't want this, but we'll take this. Or is it gonna be based on availability and options?
I don't wanna say based on availability. We have a lot of attachments that the guys would like to see us just continue to roll over to the new equipment if possible to cut costs down per single units. We don't have to buy a bunch of new attachments. So obviously we don't need a Cadillac, but it would be nice to have something that deemed reliable. Like we've had good luck with the Volvo that doesn't need. So we'll do our due diligence and with my research team behind me, we'll figure out.
I thought he's your draftsman.
That was research team, this is research. So we put together some good recommendations for council. We talked to, is it through Brandt? Toronto Cat. They had a wonderful service agreement that they're offering right now that they already have contracts in the area. Was it once a month?
Once a month.
They would come to the area and do a full inspection of your unit.
That's because he lives at the lake.
Well, that's great, that's great for us. So like, there'd be an advantage to that, right, for so. If again, if it's something council would like us, we'd like to get going on it sooner. Right before that, next week.
Well, you can still throw it out there and get some prices and stuff, doesn't mean we're gonna buy it.
No, correct, once you go to the email to the salespeople, then they're all over us, so.
They should.
No, it's great. That means they're doing a good job. Okay, next item, equipment fleet health monitoring. So about 5 or 6 years ago, the town invested in some GPS units to outfit some of our fleet and heavy equipment. The program and software is called Geotab and it's offered through Sirius Technologies. We did a little bit of work with the software and we kind of realized that the potential is actually a lot greater and more vast than we recognize. We've only paid like a nominal subscription, so we can unlock all the features. So we're requesting outfitting our entire fleet Geotab devices and upgrading our subscription to like the highest or second highest level. Geotab not only allows real-time GPS data to the user, which is great for safety asset tracking, but also allows users in real-time data of the health of your fleet. So our mechanics currently don't have any fleet management software. This program will provide them a platform to populate and program the reminders for vehicle service and frequency, as well as a place for them to leave any comments and notes for repairs that have been done or future repairs and for just future reference. So a little bit about the subscription of what you get in the system. So aside from vehicle tracking with the GPS, you can set speed limits, seatbelt notification, harsh braking, hard accelerations, and it actually will create a driver scorecard and tell you how the vehicle is being operated. You can even add geo fencing to it so that you create an area where the vehicle should not leave. And if the vehicle leaves that designated area, you will get notification if your vehicle has left whatever area you determined. It gives you idling data, fuel consumption data, and all of those can be set up with email notifications, however you want. Also, in terms of vehicle health tracking, all the vehicle faults, engine, catalyst, evap, will also be emailed to the mechanics or to whoever is set up on the system. And based on that data provided, based on this data and this tracking system, the engineering department can also make more important decisions based on the information regarding equipment downtime and utilization trends. So I know one of the questions we get asked is, we have a lot of trucks. Are we actually utilizing? How are we utilizing? Are we getting good use out of them? With this, I can pull up the data on every single individual vehicle and provide you actual data saying, you know what, you're right, this truck sits 85% of the time. Maybe we don't need any passenger vehicles. Maybe, this is a better option. So having some real data for us, I think will help us make better decisions.
You can also input invoices into this as well.
Correct, and even and we were sort of learning about that, but there's some predictive information about potential costs, upcoming repair costs, which I believe is based on the data. Yeah, it's quite wonderful. So what is it that we're requesting? We're requesting 41 pieces of hardware that will cover all our trucks and heavy equipment. Works out to about $100 per device. Again, we're still figuring out if there's good pricing for that. And we're asking for 40 subscriptions, about $30 per month per vehicle. So add 14,000, it'd be a $14,400 cost yearly. We are currently paying $2,400 in subscriptions already for the program. So it'll be an increase to the operating budget of about $12,000. And also the additional add-on that's available is if we want to move to dash cams, these are compatible with dash cams as well.
Great idea.
Yeah.
Have a mechanic on board.
One question is, will all the trucks take that though, with the age of the fleet and with all the mobile equipment, they're all compatible?
Yeah, the wiring harness for the heavy equipment is a little bit different, it's a little bit more involved, that's why the pricing is not 100%. But a couple of the trucks we put in last year were like 2000, 2005
Okay,
models, so it should work for all
no, this is good.
of them. The next one is real-time leak detection. So we've been doing some research. We know that in the future, we're gonna have to consider maybe a reservoir expansion for the water plant. So we should take every step necessary between now and then to reduce our consumption as low as we can before we start facing that challenge. So one of the challenges sometimes is it's hard to find leaks in the system, or if there's breaks, spending the time to go and backtrack and find them, or even when there is a break, tracking where that break is actually coming from, especially in the winter, that's very challenging. So and again, if you let a break go too long, the underground infrastructure gets waterlogged, and if it's in the winter, you create additional hot frost heaving and other pipe damage as well. So we're proposing considering a real-time leak detection system. So how does it work? So there's a series of acoustic sensors that are embedded in the hydrant caps. These caps are directly installed on a series of fire hydrants. Sensors communicate to each other and back through a cloud to a proprietary user interface. If a leak is detected, the user is notified through email or other means in real time. The system will automatically provide a range of where the break is located. You can move these acoustic sensors around the water system if you don't want to fit every hydrant. Obviously, going to every hydrant would probably not be a good idea, but you know, enough to do a certain area of town at a time. We can kind of move it around every month or every several months to kind of track the system health. So some of the benefits of early detection, obviously using their AI analytics software. It's less invasive than immediately starting to dig, less damage to the infrastructure. There's a time-saving component, water-saving component, and it's a system that can be easily expanded depending on how you want to look at it. The cost, so each sensor is about $1,400. Again, we're still refining that. The monitoring cost is $90 per sensor per year. There may also be a Bell MTS sort of fee for connecting through the cloud. We're still kind of trying to figure that last part out. But this is something that we're kind of really interested in because it's a very low setup cost and the returns are pretty important for measuring the health system.
So isolation, block, say you've got a block, you've got a sensor at each end.
Yeah.
It'll narrow it down to, it'll say you've got a leak between here and there.
Correct. It'll narrow it down to like a pretty refined number. We're trying to, we've been working with the supplier to kind of get some more data on how refined. But our goal would be, we think, to have like a quadrant of town outfitted for 2-3 months, recording that data and moving it along. Kind of where, like, if we know we have water coming out somewhere, we send the whole crew. Ash actually made a good point today when we were talking about this. He mentioned like, if he got the email saying that there's a break, he could immediately start the water break big package process. So calling the locates, calling the utility. So before the staff even know what's going on, he's already has an idea of where he needs to get utility locates for. And then that way we can kind of push our repair process.
Wouldn't you have them just laying, wouldn't they stay in place though? Like, why would you move them around? Like, isn't it?
Well, it depends if you want to spend the money to have every hydrant, sort of. Because the other thing we were thinking of is, can we do it like just like a quadrant on the exterior of a quadrant to find out if there's breaks and then to kind of.
But don't we normally see a break when the water's coming out of the ground?
Not necessarily, they get into the storm. We have perforated storm sewers in certain parts of town. That's a good question. So certain parts of town have a perforated system because the water table is so high. So the water from a break, let's say that one by Stitco, that one popped up recently. That could have been one that we've been waiting for service for, you know, a year or more. So.
Okay, and then maybe the comment from that resident about the water running all the time in that area.
That could have been possibly too, yeah, exactly. So there's been water running in that general vicinity for a while. So was it that? Was it something else?
No, that's good. I like this. This is good stuff.
Yeah, it's a very interesting
I
technology.
just don't think you should cheap yourself out. I think if you're gonna put something in, you should put it in and leave it so that. You
Well,
can,
we've definitely budgeted enough. We weren't sure what the sticker shock would be too much, but we have a good amount in there that I think.
The age of our infrastructure, I don't think it hurts to have some more help, so, sorry, Councilor Allen, just one second.
So for the hydrants, they actually have to be operational for this to work?
It's a good question. They have to be on, yes. They cannot be turned off.
So hydrants, out of commission, like we do have some in town, right, because they're not gonna work on those?
I don't believe they would, if it's, because what would be the valve to the hydrant might be off. So it might not, I don't know for sure. My initial instinct is that it wouldn't if it's not like active or whatever, but I can look into that further. That's a good.
That'd be the repair work to the hydrants going on as a part of this project?
Sorry, was it?
Would there be repair work to the hydrants as a part of this project, to put them back online?
Yeah, the repairs to the hydrants is something that the CEO has been very clear that she wants to see improvement on from her department. So that's something in her budget that we were making sure that we adhere to her direction.
That was one of my questions, and the other one is, you talked to other communities where they've installed this, and got any feedback?
So we've been doing some research into that, and we're getting some information on it still. There's been some of the information we gathered was from their communities.
We had like response from Medicine Hat and Alberta, like which are like super response. I've done a case study of like 4 towns that has done this, and pretty good case study on this.
So the fire hydrants cracked open at the fire, it's going to send you a lead.
Correct, yeah, they will notify us, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Go for it.
I'm gonna assume that I think it would work if the hydrant was out of commission, because you're saying it's an acoustic thing. Our hydrants are all dry hydrants because they would all be lost every winter,
Yeah,
right?
that's a good.
So I'm assuming that acoustic, as long as the sensor's in there, it's gonna anticipate and read that water flow. It's the change in the water flow, I'm guessing it's reading, right?
Correct, yeah. Or the disruption.
Yeah.
Sticks, yeah. It's possible, yeah. Next one is again in the same vein of water conservation and mobile water meter data collector. So currently we send out a staff member roughly every quarter to read water meters. Approximately 1,200 of our 1,900 meters in our community are radio frequency RF meters. The readings are then taken by the staff for the previous 3 months and then get billed out to customers once the reading is complete. Therefore, if someone has a leak in their system, it could be almost 4 months before they're made aware. And as council has seen, this can create a significant financial burden for families and businesses alike. So how can we maybe help them improve and make this process better for our residents and the community? We believe that the purchase and installation of a mobile water meter may be that answer. This mobile unit that we're looking at is several orders of magnitude more powerful than our handheld units. I believe it has a range of about 1,500 feet on this unit. So the idea would be you would put this unit and then fix it in the garbage truck, send it out on the snow every day. At the end of the day, the data collection will be downloaded and uploaded to our network by our operations specialist at the garage. The operations specialist will then flag any leak events the data collector has recorded, as well as any reverse flow events. So reverse flow event can be perhaps someone's tampered with the meter, or there's been some siphonage or different things like that. That information can be immediately provided to the utility clerk, and then the appropriate owner or resident can be notified immediately about a potential issue with the problem.
Yeah, I think this is a great idea. Yeah, it'll help community members for sure, if they don't know what's going on and there's,
Yeah, so benefits, water conservation, significant service level improvement, savings for owners and residents, manpower in terms of reading, reduce the number of readings, and obviously reduction in lost revenue. Obviously, the costs we're looking, the unit itself is about, again, this is just preliminary $15,000. The mobile antenna installation is about 2,500, and maybe about 5,000 hardware software. We're still trying to find that, so we feel like the 25,000 is probably pretty close. And we're confident that our RF meters that are 1 generation older are still compatible. We're just trying to kind of double check to make sure before we write a check, we can't cash it.
I would say a lot of surprises to an area, somebody does have a leak.
Yeah. Well, we've all been here when there's this big, it's tough to keep someone that's a bit of that size. A few quick things we'll run over here, trench gauges, tornado shells. There's some safety concerns with it. So our staff is requesting that we put a for a trench cage, so that's just kind of a.
Yep.
Explode one.
And I mean, if we need that now, we should be ordering it now. If we don't have one. If we're-
We have one, it's just, it's pretty, like, it's getting,
For the safety of our employees and to support them, to recognize them. I mean, if we need those tools, we should have.
sure, yes.
The equipment we had, the lowering, we'll handle new one.
Oh, yeah, these ones are actually much lighter. The one we have is heavy duty,
Yeah.
and these new ones are all aluminum. They can be, and there's some actually incredible different versions of it that we want to explore, that like you're doing hydrant repair, it's designed for the hydrants, like set up or valve. So you're not doing as intrusive as the big cage we have, so there's minor ones that we can do that. Next one. Plate packer, the one we have is destroyed, can't be fixed, can't be repaired.
Buy it.
At least 15 years old or old, so that'll be another one next. Asphalt cutter walk behind, that thing is gotta be going on 20 years old, I believe, 20 something years old. They can't get parts, can't get repaired. Mechanics have done their best to try to repair it numerous times and
When we do digs, then would we now, instead of tearing up the pavement, we would cut it with that, like?
this is the preferred method right now. We have a ring saw.
Okay.
That we used to cut, but as you can imagine, the urban
Yeah.
parks have been low, and there's a danger being that close to the.
Some, those two items there kind of remind me of when the fire department came for radios. Those aren't big ticket items, big scheme of things, they should just be.
Yep.
Come to council, we need this, get it, that's an everyday tool that you're gonna be using.
Yeah, like, we have other tools, and so like, late in the season, we're not doing a bunch of packing, obviously, so we kind of like. Or, yeah, we appreciate that for sure. Our valve turner, same thing, this unit is probably 20 years old. The one in the video is not exactly what we have, this is the one we want, it's like the one we had previously, it just plugs into electrical, outlet. Again, the mechanics have tried fixing it, we had some good work on it for a while, but it's just tired and not functional anymore. I know it feels like a lazy device to have, but just so that for you can appreciate it, so when you're turning a valve, like it's, let's say a 6-inch valve, it's 3 times the diameter of the pipe, plus or minus 2 extra turns. So you're turning it 20 times to turn on and off a 6-inch valve.
I didn't even know there was such a thing.
Yeah, so
There's a slip on that, if it locks up, must be it.
yes. So I've exercised some valves in my time, when it's a 10-inch valve and you're turning 30 sometimes, it can be cumbersome, and also the valves aren't quite hard to turn, it takes 2 people, 3 people, sometimes to kind of just break it free to turn it. And again, it's just a replacement for what we already have. I know there's a bit of a sticker shock, even for me when I first saw it, but it's a replacement identical to what we already had.
It's hydraulic.
This one's hydraulic, we want just electrical. That one's even mechanical. Yeah, I think we're the next one. So we talked a little bit about this before. We'd like to install a light with some fixtures at the new tennis/basketball/pickleball courts, just for safety. Again, in line with our strategic plan to safe community. Obviously, we talked about illumination for the town sign in the park.
Sam, there was that guy that approached us last year. I passed on the contact. He wanted to actually build a lighting factory and maybe touch bases with Jonathan. Like, he wanted to actually come here and that's what he sells. And I gave like Jonathan had the card. I thought that they touch, maybe you could touch bases with them, because I think there might be some opportunities there on the solar front as well, just with other signs and lighting.
Okay. Yeah, I think if we do the one for the town sign, I think because the power's the distance away, we go like with some backup batteries in it as well. And then obviously the camera at the fish shack as well, and Peter or something like that. So we'll kind of lump this into just one project. Check the whole thing. So for that. Oh, energy and water efficiency roadmap. Okay, so let's be able to have my notes for this. So we were approached with a proposal from a company called Sustain Energy Group regarding federal and provincial funding opportunities for energy efficiency. And it was sold as the possibility of getting 100% funding for this project. So the idea behind the proposal was to find municipal cost savings in energy use and equipment efficiency through the Smart Sense program. So how does the program work? Installation of non-invasive clip-on sensors inside our facilities. So we've identified the Civic Center, Arena Wellness, Water Treatment Plant, Layton Pool and Museum. These sensors track energy use in real time in each circuit. So lighting, HVAC, any flood loads, and more of that. The information is gathered by sensors and is sent back to the dashboard, which will show user equipment status and energy usage. Under the equipment status, the dashboard will be able to notify owners of equipment health and efficiency. Dashboard has the ability to compare past patterns and correlate them to specific types of failures and provides predictive analytics regarding upcoming or potential failures. So what does Smart Sense include? A full walkthrough of your facility, sensors and dashboard setup, analysis of your building envelope, mechanical and electrical systems, a custom roadmap to reduce your energy consumption by 50% or more for the next 10 years. That's what they put in writing to us. A grant matching engine that shows which equipment qualifies for which funding. That one is incredible, right? The idea that as soon as you know something is wrong, it can point you in the direction of a grant for that type of equipment. Also regular reports, alerts, and saving suggestions. So currently, Sustain Energy has applied for a federal grant for us in the amount of $173,000 towards the program. When and if the federal dollars are approved, they will start applying for the stackable $34,000 provincial dollars to top it up to what is required. This would cover the entire cost of the project. If, however, we're successful in the federal dollars but not provincial dollars, council will need to determine if they want the engineering department to continue with this project and approve the additional $34,390. We made no commitment to move forward on this, obviously without dollars, but he did a wonderful sales job on it. Other communities are also looking at this.
It
And I
actually
think,
prepared the reports.
pardon?
It prepared the reports.
Yeah.
It only got like the backup from us and some additional information, like I sent some other information to him last week. There is no commitment. If it doesn't work as well, FCN, nothing but.
This is like the Efficiency Manitoba, program.
And all those efficiency grants that you want to apply for, you need to have the data to support your application. He said this will satisfy all of those ends because you'll have data for everything.
Oh, this is good.
Super well received. The technology, I think, is from Alberta Institute of Technology. So they're trying to build like a massive AI engine that's going to, take all this data that they collect and really build like a wonderful platform, we believe. So incredible project. We hope we get the grant money. We were putting it as a placeholder because if we don't get the provincial funding, there will be 2 attempts at it in 2026. So you have to come and ask for that money, but he was pretty confident that he would get all of it.
That's what I'm saying. And they've already acknowledged the application. They said we submitted everything required, so I just waiting for it.
Compliment, you and your staff for thinking outside the box. A lot of good ideas tonight.
Trying to be creative. That's something you guys kind of wanted to unleash in us, so we appreciate the. Sure. Next one, here, looping the water line Centennial Drive. So this does not have to be necessarily this project. This is something that we talked about that would improve water pressure on the south west side of town, the corridor residuals on the southeast part of town, as well as southwest part of town. It was an idea that we had, and that's been something kind of in discussion for many, many years. Our water modeling program is almost complete. We gave them some hydraulic information on the hydrants in town. We've got some work done with. So they're just refining it. They may not recommend this exact thing. There may be a different route that they recommend, maybe in the area or whatever the case may be. However, we have other projects that are sort of on the horizon. Like we have the Northern Lights co-op for housing for old folks home, clean communities, and a few other potential like hotel expansion or whatever's happening. So we believe that it'd be important for us to have some dollars available for infrastructure for this year, in case one of them come to fruition or some process. We have priced out this connection, and based on the quote we received, it's going to be around $800,000. We will also include a hydrant and valve at the corner of the industrial area to provide the fire protection that area currently lacks. That would also reduce their insurance premiums as well.
This is holding back development, though. This has held back development in the last year or so.
In that area for sure.
For sure, yeah. I think this has been a question that has come up that.
Well, we have somebody who wants to develop and we can't get them the information to be able to expand or throw
Correct. So once we get the modeling information back, we'll bring it to council with the recommendations in the project. So we want to have this money as a placeholder for either this or a number of projects.
Well, I just had one question.
Oh, sorry.
Does this, how would this be affected based on OCN's 20-year plan? Because that's the area they're planning on developing along. Would this be something that would become redundant if they developed and have to be redone, or would it help supplement?
I think it would do the latter to help supplement part, because I don't honestly, I don't know what their plan is for their plan they have.
It's online, where they want to put a whole bunch of homes and everything, right? They want to make a whole subdivision in that area, which means it needs water supply.
Right.
So just wondering if we're undersizing it right now and it becomes useless, or if it does help the project.
I think it would honestly help the project, because if we keep that line through there, we could loop another line through the system that way. That land ownership is also sort of problematic. So we would need probably some sort of discussion with our partners at OCN. I believe they would be happy to hear about something like this that may support their development, especially if they're doing a dense development. This would be important for them and for us. So,
And that's what I'm thinking, it could almost offset some of that cost if it's gonna benefit, if that agreement exists. Obviously with the new chief of council, maybe that 20-year plan has changed a lot, but either way, it's a conversation that definitely be worth having for that area.
I agree. I think it's important for the community and potentially for
I would just hate to wait another year when we have somebody wanting to spend money to develop.
yeah, we should have an answer early December at the latest, is my understanding. We'll set a follow-up to kind of see where they're at, but they've had the data now for 3 weeks, I would say. So we should have some information from share short order. And the last one is some VFDs for our lagoon. One of them is currently non-functional, the other one has been active. So the VFDs aren't going to cost 15,000 per. We're sort of refining that cost as well, but there's some electrical investigation that needs to take place to figure out why these are failing. We have a harmonic system to protect us. We don't know if it's the power coming in from hydro that's causing issues, or if there's something internal that's causing these VFDs.
Yeah, they shouldn't have failed already.
Pardon?
I said they shouldn't have failed already.
Correct, yes, that, and of course, it's right after warranty is done, so that's really unfortunate. So a couple of these would go a long way in that. We're not gonna start installing until we figure out what's happening with the electrical system in there, so have someone come in and just to move forward. And it's all the breath I have left.
That's a lot. It's a lot for a lot of that.
Yeah, so. Oh, sorry, yes.
Just to jump back to the very beginning with the paving.
Sure.
So when they were updating paving earlier this year, they were doing some core samples of Bagshaw and Leader and all that, whatever came up.
Yeah, so the first 1.5 feet was approximately just like a graded gravel, which was not bad. Once we got underneath that 1.5 feet, 2 feet, it was just sand and silt. And we couldn't really go much further without it starting to cave in, so we sort of, after 5 feet, we sort of just stopped. So the material is what we thought it would be. I'm actually glad you brought that up. So something that I should have said at some point, we've done lots of not a lot. We've done some breaks in those areas, done some sewer repairs, done different repairs. So even no matter how problematic it is, we are putting better material back in the ground, graded properly, compacted properly. So in terms of consolidation of that ground over time, it will improve just based on what we're doing in there. And you can tell by some of the patches we've done in the past that they've held up for several years now. So ground condition is not great. I think the patching still is the right approach for now. And then sort of see what happens, I guess, from there.
So no, we didn't like commit, but the discussion a year ago was we're gonna look at completely redoing something over there. I think Bagshaw has kind of tentatively identified it. Now looking at this, like, I know you said 125 for Reader. I can't remember what you said for Bagshaw.
275. Sorry.
So we're looking at about 400,000 give or take.
Yeah, 275 Bagshaw, 125 Reader, 125 Traeger, and then just our normal patching.
Like but personally, and I've said it before, it's these are arguably the most neglected streets in our community. And I'm certainly no expert, but 125,000 on reader, like, do we actually think 5 years from now we're gonna be happy with that? That it's gonna look any better, feel any better?
Better than currently, yes, much, much better so far. That's fair.
Have you been down Trigger?
Have I been down Trigger, yes?
Yeah, like I thought that there's a huge improvement.
It is, but I would like to let it go a whole year and go.
Yeah, no, yeah, me too, yeah, like, no, I agree.
100%, yeah, we,
Different base between Traeger and Bagshot, big difference.
correct, we did one huge patch on the one end of Bagshot just to kind of see what it would turn out in the spring. And like when I say like the 6 patches for Bagshot, like they're not just gonna be like a small, like, we're talking like strips at a time, like almost big humps. We sort of identified the worst spots. That we do curving repair, so, that's a good question. We'll have everything.
I'm just like. I'd like to go door knocking down Leader and just ask what people think about how council's treated them over the years. That's not indicative of this council, just in total. Like, I can't imagine anybody's happy with their tax dollars and not on any of those streets in that area. It's embarrassing to drive down Leader.
So that's a good point, and I learned firsthand from some people that they weren't happy for sure. The days that we weren't there, we were measuring and sort of doing some paint marks. We got a lot of people, hey, like, what are you doing? We sort of explained to them our plan. I said, I know it's not a full repair, but then kind of explained why we're tentative and hesitant, but that council's been committed to do something. And honestly, that was we got a pretty warm reception. Probably not that we took our garbage, that was missed as well, but we got a pretty good reception when we were down there. So some of the people are happy that something is being done rather than nothing. But some of them, I would say, have commented like, you've done more for other places, and why aren't we getting this sort of the same treatment? So I can appreciate that side of it as well.
And just to add to that, there's also a lot of people who live on Reader do understand the circumstances of why it can't all of a sudden just be fixed like all the rest. They've lived there for multiple years. There's been at least 4 different homes who have made positive comments, of trying, right? Now, not to make everything that you just said go away, but not everybody is thinking that we're not doing something.
To do it one shot would be a horrendous cost. Like, it would be off the charts, because they would have to probably dug down 6 to 8 feet, moved, and
Then you lose all your curb and gutter, you lose all your storms.
$6 to $10 million.
yeah, so I think the way you're doing it, get the worst area, then it might end up, that might work. And it's definitely better than it was when you're done, but it's a massive, take out a whole, we can't ignore it, we have to start somewhere.
I agree, and like I said, the 275,000 patching, I think you guys will be happy with how far that goes in terms of the size of those patches down the street, yeah.
So is everybody good? Yeah, so just to wrap things up, so, now again, Sam, I echo Councillor Hopper's comments, with regards to thinking of different ways of doing things better, moving into the new era and being a little bit strategic and, progressive. Appreciate that. But just for, everybody that is watching, maybe or not, the total capital for 2026 is sitting around $6.8 million. And that's the request, but when it comes to the reserves part, our reserves are taking 1.8 million of that. And we're looking at borrowing as part of this plan is almost $2.5 million. $2.5 million is about 1 mil rate if we borrowed over 10 years. It'd be a 1 mil rate increase for every year for 10 years to pay it back high level. Like, I'm not saying that's exactly, but to put things in perspective. And this is why I believe us as a community need to look a little bit deeper, is that if we are going to borrow money, then we need to strategically look at where the debenture is, and if we're going to do a big project, you might not wanna borrow 2.5 million, you might wanna borrow 5 million or 7 million. And do the project to see if we get bigger rates, spread it out over a longer period of time and those type of things. The other thing is when you look at the reserves and the tax appropriation that we're doing, you know, maybe that part of it has to increase too, and we would ask our controller to look at, give us some different models on that, because if we're trying to not borrow money, then we need to increase the amount of money that's going to reserves and direct that so that we have it in the bank for the times that we are. So I really do think that we're at a good point right now where we have to strategically start thinking about those type of things so that we're setting up for a positive and good future. So with that, appreciate everybody's time tonight and look forward to further discussions and great work so far. With that, call motions.
With you sheet here about the dates for.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Yeah, I'm good with that too. Like it's so hard to tell, but the dates with our meetings, let's just go with that, and I'm sure that there might be some flexibility. Yes. So yeah, I don't see any issues with that.
The only issue I have is a lot of them being at 4 p.m.
Yeah, we can, so we can think about 5 p.m. is a good start.
5 p.m.
Yeah, 5 p.m. start. Motion adjourned, okay, good. All right, thanks.